All right, a Football Wednesday. It's October the 1st. Welcome aboard, everybody. It is the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital live here on a Wednesday talking football. Lots of football to talk about. We are the crew that talks all New York football, but we'll expand beyond that on our Wednesday show because we bring in a national guy. This guy knows a lot about football, so does his company, PFF. They analyze it. They break it down. They tell us who's the best, who's the worst, who's in the middle, where you rank. And that's our friend Dalton Wasserman from PFF. He joins us for our Wednesday football segment. What's up, Dalton? How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Another good week of football behind us, another good week coming, and certainly plenty of storylines to talk about.
All right, Dalton, we need to get into this immediately because Lerch just brought up the PFF grades. What is your PFF grade? What's your overall grade? What's your pass rush grade? What's your coverage grade? What's your profile saying?
They give themselves grades at PFF? I didn't know
They have to, I assume.
I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's tough when you have to give them yourself. I mean, I try not to be too arrogant or anything about it. I'm probably like a solid starter. Give me like a 74 somewhere in there, right? I don't want to sit here and say I'm one of the best players in the league. That seems a little arrogant, but I think, you get in that mid to high 70s range, like a solid starter. You don't look out of place out there. That probably is about right for me.
I love that. You don't say yourself that you're the best player in the league. You let other people say that. Other analysts can say that. You'll just say, hey, man, I'm just solid. But if you think I'm a superstar, I didn't say it, but you said it. Yeah, there you go. I like it.
And he's again rocking the old Chris Collinsworth jersey.
That's beautiful. Salute to Double CC. Yeah, I love Chris.
And Dalton,
that gets me a few extra points for sure. That's a couple extra points for that one.
Now, Boy Green was telling me you're in the middle of a move, right? You're moving from one place to another. Yes, is that business or is that at home? Where are you moving?
Oh no, that's at home. I finished that like a week or two ago. I was just I had the brilliant idea to switch apartments during football season, which is that's the smartest thing I've ever done for sure. But I'm good with that. We're settled in. We still got to get a couple, some new furniture on a couple of days off here. But the season's busy. And just that was the smartest thing I've ever done. Is just move right when football season started. It was brilliant.
So you're sitting on some plastic and stuff. We've all been there, Dalton. We've all been there. A couple of weeks on plastic, and then you're okay. Then you get to the couch.
That's a good lead-in, Lerch, because you want to know who else is sitting like in an empty apartment looking around, like a John Travolta or the Will Smith, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The AFC North. Is this their division to win, Dalton? Because Ravens, Lamar Jackson, the record was terrible, and then Lamar Jackson's hurt. Joe Burrow, obviously, as we've talked about, has been lost. And oh my God, Jake Browning looks awful.
I can't understand that.
And the Browns made a quarterback change, which we'll get into later. Is this the Steelers' division to lose? It's just been handed to them on a silver platter.
Right now, yeah, unless, if Lamar Jackson's out for 2 or 3 weeks, unless the Ravens can find a way to win a game or two with Cooper Rush as their quarterback, right now the Steelers are the favorite. I mean, they have the best record, but they're kind of the favorite by default. And I don't think they're playing fantastic football, but it's a Mike Tomlin coach team. It's Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. They just don't beat themselves, right? They're allowing their opponents to beat themselves. You look at the Jets game, you look at the Patriots game, even last week, Minnesota with their offensive line injuries, the Steelers felt like their defensive line could dominate that game, and they did. So right now, I almost want to say by default, because I don't think they're necessarily one of the elite teams, but you look at all the problems the other 3 teams in the North are having, the Steelers are the clear favorite right now, unless Cooper Rush can really give Baltimore some sort of resurgence, which is that's a big ask, especially against some tough games they're going to have.
Now, look, this is a week where we're going to have to talk about some injuries because there were some big ones. Boy Green just mentioned Lamar, but let's start with maybe the 2 most devastating 2 receivers, top-flight receivers, lost to injury and lost for the season. Tyreek Hill of the Dolphins and, of course, Malik Nabers of the Giants. So let's talk about the impacts on those 2 squads and the fact that we've lost 2 really good ones for the rest of this season.
I mean, look, the Dolphins first with Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's still their best player, and you look at the Dolphins were short for answers on a lot of aspects of their team. Obviously, the defense has been struggling, and offensively, Tua's been inconsistent. But now you lose your best player for the season in Tyreek Hill. You just wonder. I mean, if they can just sustain through an injury at all like that on offense. Obviously, Devon Achane is good. You still have Jalen Waddle there on the outside, but your offense, for as unproven as certain parts of the team were, you felt like their receivers were arguably the best part of the team. And now the best player is gone. I don't know where the Dolphins go on offense from here because Tyreek Hill makes so much of that work with his speed and with his ability to win downfield. And then for the Giants, look, I think they showed you the attitude that they're going to bring with their offense with Cam Skattebo and Jackson Dart in the run game. But Malik Neighbors was your one consistent downfield threat, right? And what you worry about now is opposing defenses really stacking the box and making Jackson Dart throw it over their heads to Wan'Dale Robinson, to maybe Jalen Hyatt steps into that vertical role, right? So Darius Slayton obviously too, but losing Malik Neighbors, who just like for the Dolphins, I should say, that's their best player. And when you lose your best player on offense, things get really difficult.
Let's go to some other stuff happening. Let's go back to the AFC North. I wanted to get to that. Breaking news from this morning: the Browns quarterback change. Joe Flacco, sorry, buddy, but that car is parked. But not at QB3, at QB2. We'll get into that level of layer of it, in a second. Dylan Gabriel, the Oregon kid, he's getting his chance as the QB1 there in Cleveland. What do you make of his opportunity? What do you make of the Browns making the switch?
I mean, it was bound to happen eventually, right? We all knew it was coming. It was just a guessing game of which week. Now, maybe this was slightly earlier than we thought, and there's arguments about, oh, do you throw a kid in against a tough opponent? But saw that work with Jackson Dart last week, and they found a way to beat the undefeated Chargers, right? I think with Gabriel, it's a quicker release. It's a little more athleticism. And Joe Flacco looks like a 40-year-old quarterback back there. He stands in the pocket. He stands in one spot. When pressure comes, he basically has no answer for it. And the problem is there's a whole lot of pressure coming through the Browns' offensive line right now. So if Flacco isn't significantly better than one or both of these kids, then you have to play Dylan Gabriel. You play him for as long as that goes until you're uncomfortable with him, and then maybe you look at Shedeur Sanders later. But I mean, we all knew Joe Flacco's obviously not the long-term answer. He's not going to be the answer even for 17 games this year. So might as well give the kid a shot. I know it's a tough opponent this week against Minnesota, but he's going to play eventually. You might as well do it now.
So the quick follow-up that I just want to do is, so we hear the news, Joe Flacco, okay, you're going to the bench. And I assumed, I'm like, all right, Joe Flacco, get ready to learn QB3, buddy, because now it's the rookie showcase for the rest of the season. And maybe, to your point, Dalton, we'll get that eventually. But the report from this morning is Joe Flacco is just going from QB1 to QB2. Shedeur Sanders remains a QB3. Are we reading too much into that eventually it's not going to mean what it seems to suggest right now? Or what does that say? Because there's a lot of Shedeur Sanders fans out there in the audience that is ready for his inevitable chance, obviously at some point later in the season, because Dylan Gabriel is getting the first whack at the pinata here. But what does that mean?
I don't think it means much of anything, honestly.
Okay.
I don't think it means anything different than Jameis Winston still being QB3 in New York behind Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart. Look, Shedeur obviously is the Browns feel a developmental type of prospect who is going to help on the scout team, and right now as the third quarterback. And Joe Flacco still with the experience in the system and the game reps that he already has. For the short term, he probably is more ready to step in right off the bench and play if something were to happen to Dylan Gabriel. So I really don't. Obviously everybody's going to make a big thing about it. Why is it not Shedeur instead of Flacco? But I think the fact that he's still the veteran and Kevin Stefanski has a lot of respect for him too, that Flacco being QB2 makes a lot of sense on the sideline on game days.
Dalton, let's talk a little bit about Dart and the fact that he was able to go out there and not only get the Giants a win, but get the Giants a win against a quality team, a team that hadn't lost a football game. I know the numbers weren't staggering, but it just felt like there was a completely different energy for the Giants. So what did you think of start number one, and have the Giants, dare I say, prematurely found their franchise quarterback based on one start? I know that's a lot to say.
Based on one start, that is a lot, right? Because the hardest thing of playing quarterback in the NFL is stacking good performances together, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. Obviously, there'll be some bumps in the road, especially without your number one wide receiver now. But I think the big thing is the Giants, philosophically, with Jackson Dart and the other rookie in the backfield, Cam Skattebo, they're taking a run-heavy approach. And that win reminded me a lot of the 2022 Giants with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Their defense kept games close. They ran the football in one time of possession, and then they won all those one-score games. That's what it looked like more so, with Jackson Dart's legs being the biggest asset right now. Look, is he completely polished as a passer? Absolutely not. Does that get harder without Malik Neighbors? Yeah, but I do like the spark that Dart and Skattebo have given them both in the run game. So if they're going to play complementary football, be more physical, run game defense, then so be it. Brian Daboll's won that way before, and that may be how they have to do it now.
All right. Let's go to this surprising retirement news coming this morning. Shaquille Leonard of the Indianapolis Colts. He's a three-time All-Pro linebacker. He's retiring as a member of the Colts, rather. The team announced this today. It's just weird, man, because he was the defensive rookie of the year. He came out of South Carolina State as a second-round pick. He was like this superstar player, and we're like, oh, watch out, everybody. This guy's going to be this like Luke Kuechly-esque linebacker in our conversation for a long time. And then he just fell off a cliff. disappeared. There was all those trade rumors. Where's he going to go? Eagles, Cowboys, all these different places. And then all of a sudden he's retired. What the hell happened to Shaquille Leonard, man?
I mean, look, it can happen that quickly in the NFL. You lose a step, maybe, getting towards 30 years old or in your early 30s, you lose a step, and these things can go quickly. And then I know he was dealing with some injuries later in his career,
Sure.
but no, during early in his career and in his prime with the Colts, he was one of the best linebackers in football, right? You mentioned all those accolades just now. He was so good for a handful of years there. And yeah, I mean, every great player, you wish they could just last a little bit longer. Give me one more season, right? But it's so rare. It's so rare to see that, especially at a position like that. I think about a guy like Bobby Wagner being, 35, 36 years old, and he's still, I think, one of the 5 best linebackers in football. I think about Demario Davis with the Saints still playing excellent football, but I know that hurts as a Jet fan. We had him twice. But it's just so hard to sustain that into your early, mid, and late 30s at so many positions, and linebacker is one of those.
Dalton, I don't know if you have an overall take on this, but just because it sort of came up for Shaquille Leonard, I'm not sure he's in this conversation, but the theme of what he is in this conversation, and that's players that have short careers. Are they Hall of Fame worthy? We have the Kansas Comet, of course. Gale Sayers comes to mind. Patrick Willis comes to mind. Luke Kuechly's wasn't as short, but that's sort of in the same breath. TD, Terrell Davis. We've had a couple of these that had very brief careers, but damn, they were spectacular in those moments. And we've seen some of those players I've mentioned, Patrick Willis, and get into the Hall of Fame. Do you have a stance that there should be a certain level of longevity before you're even eligible? Is it case by case? Where do you stand on shorter career form players, but had tremendous impacts in a short period of time to make it to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think football has a different argument with this than something like baseball. Like baseball, everybody looks for, okay, was this guy great for a while? And then, you don't get too many of the Sandy Koufax type situation where it was really just 5 or 6 of the greatest seasons we've ever seen, right? But in football, that can happen with injuries and how quickly things can turn, right? Patrick Willis, I think, is a great example. Any time he was on the field, he was the best linebacker in football, no question. Or Luke Kuechly, same thing, and his career only ended because of concussions early. I think there is more flexibility with that. When you have a shorter career, but a guy who's clearly a Hall of Fame talent, just a special football player, there is some consideration. Now, I think there is still probably a minimum. I think a guy whose career got cut short for various reasons. I think about the center for the Dallas Cowboys, Travis Frederick, and he had like 5 or 6 great seasons, but maybe he needed like 2 or 3 more, right? It depends on the situation and how special that player was, but I think there is more breathing room for it in football. Or it's the reason that Aaron Donald could retire after 10 seasons and feel like, okay, yeah, I'm good. I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer. I've won a Super Bowl. I've done it all. And I think personally, I think you could argue Aaron Donald as the greatest defensive tackle at all time, despite him not playing 15, 16, 17 years.
Wow. Well, top of the morning to you there, my friend Dalton, because we had football in Ireland this past week, and the international series week continues. Where are we this week, Boy Green?
Yeah, let me have it. I have it
merry
right
old
in front
England.
of me here.
I think we're back over in merry old England. I don't know if we're making
it is London, England. It is
London.
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Vikings Browns. Yep.
Very, very big time soccer stadium there in London. Okay, so international flavor has hit us. What did you think about Ireland? We haven't had a game there in quite a while. What did you think of the NFL's trip through Ireland here? A lot of Steeler fans in Ireland, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so, right? A lot of Steeler fans everywhere. Obviously, they've been around a long time and so much success. I don't blame them for picking that team if that's where the majority were sitting. But no, I think we've seen it actually twice this year, because between the NFL game we saw last week and then there was the Week 0 college football game between Kansas State and Iowa State. That was a fantastic football game, and it was such a great environment. College football's been doing an Ireland trip for the last couple of years to start the season. No, I mean, a spectacular environment. I mean, I think you learn about that part of the world, the UK and England and Ireland, things like that, where there's such passionate fans, right, for whatever and you mentioned the soccer stadium and kind of the soccer mentality. They bring that to football too, to American football as well. And obviously I think that's what you're looking for when you go to these places, is how passionate these fans are. Just not just how many show up for the event, but they're loud, they're into it. And you mentioned it. If there's a whole lot of Steeler fans over there, I bet we see Pittsburgh back there again.
And I know you guys will talk about this on the PFF NFL show as you guys preview the Week 5 games that are to come. Well, me and my digital partner over here, Jim the Manchild Lerch, are headed to the Jets-Cowboys games this weekend with 60 screaming Jet fans that are all coming with us to sit with us for the game to watch it. Dalton, what are we going to see? Hopefully, for the love of God, a win. That'd be nice. I haven't seen one of those this year. But high scoring, the defenses seem awful. Dak Prescott's playing terrific this season. They had that crazy Sunday Night Football game, which we could talk about a little bit too, against the Packers. So what am I, Manchild, and the 60 screaming Jet fans that are coming with us, what should we expect on Sunday at MetLife Stadium?
Well, I'll tell you what you need to see if you're going to get a Jets win, and I think it's something everybody's talking about. It's something Aaron Glenn's obviously been talking about. It's just less mistakes, right? The turnovers, the fumbles, the penalties. They have according to our numbers, they have the second or third most missed tackles in the league. I think Quincy Williams injury really, to me, Quincy Williams and Jermaine Johnson, those two injuries are really hurting the defense right now. I don't think they have any depth at linebacker to me behind Williams and Jamie and Sherwood. And I was thinking in the preseason, if one of those two guys went down, there was going to be some serious problems. I think the Quincy Williams injury is really hurting them, but they have to make less mistakes. A lot of it is self-inflicted. What was the Breece Hall quote? Other teams shoot themselves in the foot and we shoot ourselves in the head. I mean, that's kind of exactly how it is, because you could very easily argue the Jets could be 3-1 instead of 0-4. I mean, they're that close in these games, but the kick return against the Steelers, just the last defensive stand, they took the lead on the Buccaneers right in the last 2 minutes. This game, I thought the Braylon Allen fumble on the very first drive, it just took the wind out of the sails. When you have such a great drive and you're running the football and everything looks like it's supposed to, and then 6 inches from the goal line, you fumble it away. That's so deflating for a team that for years and years has had a habit of making those mistakes. So, we could talk about Dak, and obviously he's red hot, and the Jets secondary's been struggling. I think the Jets do have an opportunity to run the ball well in this game, but they have to stop beating themselves. That's the first step to beating the other team, is you have to not beat yourself.
And Dalton, I'm dressing up for this one. Boy Green, I'm going to give you a peek.
Oh, okay. Wait, let me go full screen here.
We'll peek here.
Boy.
Okay.
Peek.
Oh,
peek at the hat.
Oh, I know what it is.
All right. Here's a peek at the jersey. I'm not gonna reveal what jersey, but here's a peek at the jersey. A little corner of it.
Oh, he went with the brand new jersey that just came out. I see.
I did.
Wow.
Now, whose number am I wearing on my back? We'll find out on Sunday at the MetLife.
So let me give you a. So Dalton is a Jets fan, for those who don't know, and so Lerch obviously is a Giants fan. But for this game, we could both equally go, yeah, we both hate the Cowboys. We can make that happen. So he's coming to the game for that. Right. So Dalton, I want you to put a guess out there in the universe. So Lerch bought a jersey. Obviously, he showed it a little bit on screen there, but we don't know what the player's name is on the back. And it's the new jerseys, the new rivalry uniforms that just came out, the hat jersey combo. So I can't wait to see that in person. So he's a Giants fan, but he said he would buy a Jets jersey. And when I said, I think I'll guess, he said, I don't think you will. So it seems like it might be a little off the beaten path. Dalton, as a fellow Jets fan, you know the roster pretty well.
And I'll offer this clue. It is a current player. Okay,
it's a current player.
Maybe I should wear, Namath, get a classic, go get myself an Emerson Boozer or something. But he didn't. No, I didn't.
So
I went
for a current
player.
So who do you think? Give it a guess, Dalton.
He said, and he already said it's off the beaten path, right? So
he gave
first. I don't know that it's off the beaten path. I just said Paul probably won't know who it is. But that doesn't mean that you wouldn't know who it is. And I'm not going to tell you if you get it, but guessing will reveal.
I don't see that makes me think, though, because you're doing all this, that I don't think it would be one of the superstars like Garrett Wilson or Sauce Gardner. I think what you're looking for with the Jets is a little bit of hope. And you know what? We talked a lot about this offensive line. I'm gonna go. You're playing the long-term bet here. I'm actually gonna say the rookie, Armand Membu.
Ooh, good one. Good one. I like hot mollies, Boy Green. He could be right.
He could be. That'd be great. So let's talk about him for a second, because, there hasn't been a lot of good with the Jets at 0-4, but I think the Athletic put this out, and others are giving similar praise, so I'll just use them as the pulpit here. The all-rookie team, Armand Membu, made it for the Athletic, and in their column, they said he's clearly, by far, unquestioned, been the best overall rookie offensive lineman in the National Football League this season. And, we're not talking a lot about it. Well, first off, in a general sense, if an offensive lineman is playing well, you normally don't talk about him. And then the Jets stink, so we're extra not talking about him. So let's give him a spotlight here. Dalton, do you agree? Have you seen some of the same things here from Armand Membu, the 7th overall pick, through his first month of his NFL career?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at offensive tackles, I think we've seen some good play from a lot of them so far. The rookies, Will Campbell in New England's been good. Josh Simmons has been really good. I look at the interior, a couple of guys I think are playing fantastic football. Gray Zabel, the left guard for Seattle, and Tate Ratledge, the right guard for Detroit's been awesome. But when you look at Membu on that right side, he's been very, very consistent in pass protection. The footwork and the athleticism and the finishing ability, those are all standing out right now. And obviously, we knew he was a great athlete, just an A-plus combine, a historically good combine that he and and Will Campbell both had they're some of the best numbers we've seen from a tackle. So certainly in that argument. I mean, when you look at the offensive tackles, I think you could certainly argue he's been the best one of the rookies so far, with a couple of close contenders behind again. But the run blocking is getting better. I like the lateral movement that he shows with the Jets and all the zone run games that they do. So I think he's a perfect fit in Tanner Engstrand's system. He's adjusted well in pass protection. He's a great athlete. He has been really good so far. One of the brightest spots on this Jets team.
Let's talk about some of the fallout here from week 4, really from the first 4 weeks of the season. One of them is what we were intimating a little bit earlier, and that is the position that the Baltimore Ravens find themselves in. And within that position, Dalton, let's talk about the position now that the Buffalo Bills find themselves in, which is clearly the favorites in the AFC. I mean, you want to make an argument for someone else, I dare you to do so. But I think the Bills are clearly the favorites now. And obviously the Ravens are in big, big trouble. We know from history, the last 2 times that they started the season 1-3, they did not make the playoffs. So are we headed in that direction again? And of course, we have the Lamar injury that could be, who knows, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, how long this is going to be. What does this all mean for the Ravens? And then what does this all mean for the Bills?
They've got it. Let's say Lamar Jackson is out for 2 games. They've got to find a way to win at least one of them. They've got 2-4 looks a lot better than 1-5. And even this week against Houston, it's still winnable. Houston's got a really good defense, but they're struggling on offense. They have to find a way to get Derrick Henry going. He's at under 50 rushing yards in 3 straight games, which is just unbelievable to think about when you think about the Ravens running the football and how good Derrick Henry is, how good he was just last year, and even in week 1 against Buffalo. And now, because they've fallen behind in these games, they're not allowed to just, hand it off to Henry and close games out. So, and I think the biggest thing is you look at their defense on the other side. For us right now, they have the lowest run defense grade in the NFL. You saw it against Detroit, a little bit against Buffalo, even last week with Kansas City. They had their best rushing day of the season. The Ravens have to find a way to stop the run. The problem is it's not just Lamar Jackson. The big defensive tackle, Nnamdi Madubuike, is out for the season. Roquan Smith is out for at least this week and possibly longer. They've got a slew of injuries they're dealing with, and it's really affecting their ability to play their style of ball. But they've got to find a way, I think, to win at least one of the next 2 games if that's how long Jackson's going to be out.
We're talking with Dalton Wasserman, PFF, our football insider, all things NFL. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Crest Cadillac. Let's just take 30 quick seconds, learn a little bit more about our friends from Crest.
Cadillac certified pre-owned vehicles, exclusively available in Central New York at your participating Cadillac dealer, Crest Cadillac. Each one must meet high standards and receives a 172-point inspection, along with a 1-year unlimited mile warranty after the original warranty expires. Come into Crest Cadillac in Syracuse today for exceptional offers on Cadillac certified pre-owned models. CrestCadillac.com.
Right back with PFF's Dalton Wasserman. It's our Wednesday live show at MC Show Digital. Don't forget to like our channel, hit the thumbs up, and also subscribe. We'd love to grow our subscribership. Again, I'll show it after Dalton leaves the broadcast here this morning. We're doing a nice giveaway. It is a brand new Cleveland Driver Golf Club, courtesy of our friends at Play It Again Sports. Retail value $400. What do you have to do to possibly win this? Just click subscribe and be one of the first 500 subscribers to our channel. We've been growing kind of rapidly, and when we get to 500, we're giving that golf club out the door to one of those subscribers. So get in now, click that subscribe button at MC Show Digital on YouTube. Yes, Boy Green.
Wow, do you see that, Dalton? He didn't want you to get the golf club. He said after you get off, he's going to show it off to everybody, and maybe you can help your golf game.
Flow here, we got a flow going. Yes.
That's right. I'll let you guys in on something. I've actually never played a round of golf. Never done it.
Wow. So, okay.
Yeah, so somebody else would use it a lot more than I would. I'll tell you that.
Hey, you might get into it, Dalton. You never know. I'm a mini golfer myself, so, I haven't quite gotten to Lerch's same itch. But, hey, maybe a new Cleveland golf club will get me out there. Huh? You never know.
A little inspiration. That's all you need sometimes. I was always more into bowling than golf. I'll be honest. I was a decent bowler.
Okay. What was your bowling? Yeah. Come on. What was your bowling average?
I'd usually somewhere in the 180s. Usually, I'd be in the 180s. My high game was a 256. I hit one time.
Wow. Okay.
Not bad.
All right.
All right. Let me pick up the conversation where I left off. Okay. So we're talking a little bit in the AFC about Buffalo and about Baltimore. Now let me move over to Kansas City, who gets that win against Baltimore, a much needed win. Xavier Worthy back in the lineup and actually looked healthy. I was too scared to play him in fantasy. I'm so mad that I didn't, because he was obviously perfectly healthy and out there catching passes and making a difference. So is that the elixir here for the Chiefs? Are the Chiefs officially fixed, or are they still in trouble despite this win?
I feel a lot more confident about them, right? I know the Ravens are kind of in a cold spell, so the Chiefs went out there and it really looked like they just took care of business. But they were in Ravens territory on every single drive of that game, except for the kneel downs on the end. In the end, so that makes you feel good about their offense. But you mentioned it, Xavier Worthy coming back, and this goes back to last year when Xavier Worthy is on the field, and it's not just when he's targeted; it's the threat of his speed taking the top off of defenses and allowing Mahomes to work underneath too. When Xavier Worthy's on the field, Patrick Mahomes has been a lot more productive than when Worthy is out. And then you get this vision now. We only got 2 more weeks before Rashee Rice comes back in week 7. So if they can bide their time and maybe win the next game or two, a big game against Jacksonville this Monday night, their offense, you get to dream about, okay, they have Xavier Worthy. We know they're more productive with Worthy. Then they get their best receiver in Rashee Rice back, and he can do everything underneath and after the catch that he can do. Now you start to get a picture of how the Chiefs get back into contention here.
All right, let's play some devil's advocate, because Lerch says, the Buffalo Bills are unquestionably the best team in the AFC. If you want to make an argument, I'd love for you to do it, but you can't do it. Well, let me make an argument right here. Let me make an argument right here that perhaps we should just take a side-eye glance at Buffalo. So they're 4-0, right? Who have they beaten? Let's just take a gander on the old schedule here, who the Buffalo Bills played. So they played the Ravens. The Ravens suck. They're not very good. They stink. The Jets, they stink. The Dolphins, they suck. The Saints, they suck. 2 of the 4 teams they've played haven't won a gosh darn game this year. So it's the classic case of who the hell have they played? Don't Wasserman. What's your answer?
My answer is, look, it's been enough years now with Josh Allen. We know who the Buffalo Bills are. And yes, they're going to win those games. And listen, they got the Ravens' best punch in that game, right?
Yes,
I mean, that game, the way it was, and then Josh Allen brought him back from the depths. But I think going into that game, and even the way that they played in that game, the Ravens looked like the Ravens were used to. So, look, I think the Bills, it's like so many years in the AFC East with Tom Brady and the Patriots. You go, wow, cool. They get to go 6-0 in the division every year and this and that. And who have they beaten? And then you get to the playoffs and you go, oh yeah, that's right, it's them, right? So the Bills, look, I still think I have questions about their defense come the big spots, but in the weeks, in the 1:00 games against the Dolphins and the Jets and the Saints and teams like that, they take care of business. Now, this Sunday night is pretty interesting when New England coming to town and the Patriots got a little spark to them with Drake May and that team and Mike Vrabel as the head coach. It's going to be a fun one this week. I think we find out if the Patriots, what they have and if they're for real and if the Bills defense can keep up with a more competent offense than they've seen recently. But the Bills, we know who they are. We've been doing this for, this is 7th year now that the Bills have been good with Josh Allen. We know what's coming. We know where this is going, at least in the regular season.
All right, so let me apologize. I'm sorry. You're right. The Ravens, the 1-3 Ravens definitely gave them their best shot in week 1, even though they suck. So it's fine. Whatever. Pass the biscuits.
Apologize, man. Just apologize about that.
What about that game, though? Are the Patriots real or are they fugazi? Because, okay, they beat the crap out of the Panthers. Okay, who hasn't, for God's sakes? So are the Patriots for real? And obviously they have this test, Sunday Night Football, the grandest stage of them all, to be able to show Buffalo, hey, this division isn't going to be handed to you on a silver platter. What do you think?
I think this is a good measuring stick for where they're at. As far as playoff contention and a pretty good top of the AFC, we will see where that goes, and a win this week would go a long way towards that. But it's a good measuring stick game for them because I think the Patriots are kind of still exactly what we thought they were in the preseason, is a young team with a good amount of talent that is going to progress, I think, as the season goes on. And there's been moments like the Steelers game, they should have won, but turnovers kill you. You have 5 turnovers, you're not going to win very many football games. Turnovers hurt them in the Raiders game in week 1. They've had a shot to win all 4 of their games. They've gotten 2 of them. They've gotten it done. Their offense is looking better week to week. I like the way the offensive line is progressing after being a bottom 3 unit last year. Right now, they're our 7th highest graded offensive line in the NFL. That's big time what Will Campbell and those guys are doing up front. I think that makes a big difference. And Drake May leading the NFL in completion percentage, looking a little more efficient. So I do think they're progressing in a positive way. Now, this is a big step up playing the Buffalo Bills, maybe the best team in the AFC, like you mentioned, maybe. But, I think New England is going to come out of this game, win or lose, and go, okay, this is where we are, and this is where we need to get to because that team is the standard.
Another fascinating game over the weekend was the Colts and the Rams. This one was out in L.A. at SoFi. Very competitive game. But Indiana Jones and the Colts did lose their first game of the season. So is there any unmasking here of the Colts and what they are? And what does this win like this mean for the Rams? Let's talk about those 2 squads, 2 very, very interesting teams this year in the NFL.
I don't think there's anything fraudulent about the Colts. Honestly, that game went about exactly how I thought it would. It was a tight, tough football game. The Colts had their chances to win. The Rams are really darn good. Jared Verse and that D-line is great. Stafford played fantastic in this game. Puka Nacua, I got to be honest with you. I think there's an argument. I think there's an argument through 4 weeks he's the MVP of the league. I really believe that. He's just been incredible, and he took that game over. And the Colts, look, for 90% of that game, they played a really good football game, and then you just had 3 big mistakes, right? The 2 Daniel Jones interceptions on the first and last drive, and the Adonai Mitchell, the fumble right before the goal line. I mean, that flips the game upside down. If he just walks into the end zone with the football, the Colts may come out of LA with a win, right? But again, same theme as I mentioned with New England. Turnovers, man. You have 3 turnovers in a game. You're probably not going to win very often, but I don't think there's anything to say about the Colts that's horrible. They went out on the road. They played a competitive football game against an awesome team, and they lost by a score. I think the Colts are going to bounce back this week, and the Rams, they're really good. They are really, really darn good. That defense continues to get better, and as long as Matt Stafford's throwing the ball like that, they got a chance to beat anybody.
And Adonai Mitchell had the holding call on the Jonathan Taylor highlight reel spinning touchdown. Yep. I'm like, woo, the Colts just took the lead. Wait a second, some laundry on the field. Adonai Mitchell. I'm like, good Lord, man. What the hell?
Well, the Jonathan Mitchell fantasy owners, yourself, Joe Bartle, and everyone else all go nuts over the Jonathan Taylor rebuke. Yeah, no question about it. Another fascinating one, Dalton, to me, was Atlanta coming off that just beatdown that they had in week 3 and then coming back and showing up for a game against Washington. I know Jaden Daniels is still not in there, but still the fact that they were able to respond at home. So is there some life for people down there in Atlanta?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's encouraging to see. You know, I talked before about young quarterbacks wanting to stack good weeks. Well, avoiding the idea of stacking bad weeks also is big time. And for Michael Penix to get off the mat in maybe the worst football game he's ever played, you know, against Carolina last week, for him to get off the mat and come back and play the way he did, they had balance in the offense. I thought it was a nice bounce back from their offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson. Everything just looked the way it was supposed to in this game, right? Like they found a little more of an identity with the balance in their offense. So for Penix, and again, we have to remember, he's now made just 7 career starts, right? This is a guy who's still essentially a rookie, and he's looked good. He looked good his 3 starts last year. But you know what? I think for the ability for Penix to have a short memory and wipe out that Carolina game and just go, yeah, I was horrible. Okay, cool. Move on to next week. I think that's big time for that Falcons team because you don't want to stack bad performances. He went out there and against Washington and looked fantastic.
And just a couple of weeks ago, we were all saying Green Bay, best team in the league. Now they've had a loss and a tie on Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. So where do we stack Green Bay now? Where do they stand in the pantheon of teams through 4 games?
No, you're right. After 2 weeks, they look like the best team in football. But the next 2 weeks, look, the Browns and their defense presents a challenge, especially in Cleveland, and the offense didn't quite respond the way you wanted to. And then, you know, this game, I was surprised. I was surprised by the way their defense, and Micah Parsons was great. He was their highest graded player for us by far, as he is just about every week. He might win Defensive Player of the Year. But their secondary is still something I question a little bit. That cornerback spot, guys like Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine, I think that's going to be the big question is against good quarterbacks, good passing games, top flight receivers, can they respond in some of those high scoring games, right? Because all the good teams in the NFC, look at the Eagles with Brown and Smith, look at the Rams with Nacua and Adams, look at, you know, in their own division with the Lions and all the weapons they have. Is the Packers secondary going to be able to keep them in these games and avoid those types of shootouts where anything can happen?
All right, Dalton, I want to thank you so much for joining us and giving us the latest insights and showing off the Chris Collinsworth jersey. Shout out to Boss Man there at the PFF headquarters. And we enjoyed these chats, my friend. Get ready for your PFF NFL show.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys as always.
Thanks, Dalton. Always great to see Dalton, and we chat with him off the top of our Wednesday live show every single Wednesday. And now that he's gone, Boy Green, let me sneak on over here.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, I got a lot of stuff in the room here today.
Yeah, right.
Can't let that Jet jersey leak out until Sunday.
Of course.
Here it is. To going to one of our first 500 subscribers. It is a Cleveland high-bore driver, brand spanking new, beautiful head cover, still in the plastic, fabulous, adjustable, very nice. Okay, adjustable loft, adjustable weight in the back, and you've got some a beautiful brand new grip as well. So that is going out the door to one of our first 500 subscribers. Fantastic stuff. So there it is, youtube.com/MC Show Digital to join in on that little parade. So do that early and often.
Yes, we have 300 people in the room that are currently watching the show right now, so shout out to all you guys. So regardless, we're streaming live in 3 different destinations: my YouTube channel, my Twitter account, and also at MC Show Digital. If you guys want a chance to win, as Lerch just said, a $400+ golf club, you can have a chance to win it for free. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel. That link is shown here on your screen. Again, youtube.com/MC Show Digital. It's free to subscribe, and as long as you remain a subscriber, once we surge past 500, you'll have a chance to win that. And to be honest, we'll have more giveaways to come. And as you continue to be a subscriber, you continue to be eligible for these giveaways. So get involved, get in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, and become a part of the family here. We are. I don't know what kind of business strategy we're doing here. They're giving all this stuff away for free, but that's above my pay grade, baby. Let's just continue to give this away, and you guys take advantage of it.
BG, jump into the comments for a minute. I'm just going to step out of the room for a quick second. I got a little dog issue here. That's the benefits of being at home. All right. Go through a couple of the comments. There's some things in the comments I want to comment. I'll be right back, and I'll jump right into the conversation.
Yeah, sounds good here. Okay. There he is. I got you. Got you taken care of, Lerch. No problem. So yes, let's get into the comment section. Let's get into it with you guys. First off, Phil, sorry we didn't ask about the Giants pass rush grade, but they did a terrific job, and the Giants are looking really good. They have a chance to win back-to-back games this week against the New Orleans Saints, Phil. So awesome. By the way, congratulations on winning our first giveaway, which was the autographed David Tyree Super Bowl photo. Congrats to you. I'm glad that you brought this up, Yeti, because this is something we wanted to discuss. This is a local topic. I know we go all over the place now with Jets, Giants, Bills, but this is a good local topic to discuss here. Not good. This is terrible news. Excuse me, Yeti on our YouTube channel saying, good morning, guys. Just want to give a shout out and rest in peace to Lawrence Poetry in Moton, 53 years old. So sad. Moton and David Johnson were my favorite players of all time. Go Qs. Yes, for those who don't know, we've done a radio show here in town for 25 years up until this summer that we moved over to digital. One of our broadcasts we had over the final couple of months of the show included having Lawrence Moton in studio, and it was an absolute pleasure. Lawrence is, of course, a phenomenal athlete and, player for Syracuse, one of the greatest players in Syracuse basketball history. And they've had a lot of really great players. So from an athlete standpoint, he stands in the pantheon as one of the greats, but just as a human being. And I can say to this because I had the great honor of meeting Lawrence Moton several times, whether in radio situations or he was doing public appearances that I was at covering it as media. Lawrence is a phenomenal human being. This was absolutely gut-wrenching to see. 53 years old has gone way too soon. Incredibly sad news. Yeti, thank you for bringing this up because we wanted to get to this, of course. This came out yesterday, but thank you. And Lerch can speak to it too. He's been covering this even longer and longer than I have, obviously. I moved here in 2008 to Syracuse, and I got several opportunities to meet Lawrence Poetry in Moton here. And those were some really amazing opportunities. But Lerch, go ahead. You can speak to
a couple of things. First of all, I was on the phone with some people this morning, some insiders, trying to get some insight as to exactly what the cause of death was. Still has not really gotten out there. I'm not ready to release that because I'm not confident in the sources that I talked to in terms of what actually happened with Lawrence. But regardless of that, we will find out, I'm sure, in the upcoming days, what the cause of death for a 53-year-old who, and we saw him, about a year ago, maybe in the last 18 months.
Yeah, less than that, as a matter of fact, Lerch. It's months ago that we brought him in studio for an interview.
Really? Okay, I didn't realize it was that soon. Okay, but within the last year, we talked to Lawrence. He was involved in a nice endeavor over at the New York State Fairgrounds, which is near us. And a good friend of mine who's an event promoter here in Syracuse, Steve Becker, said, hey, would you like to have Lawrence in studio? I said, yeah, we haven't seen him in a while. I haven't talked to him in a while. And that was a wonderful conversation. I'm going to see, I'm pretty sure, Boy Green, that I've archived that interview. Yeah. It's an audio interview because it was done on the radio. And I'll see if we can get it, if I can find it, I'll get it to you and we'll try and post it on our YouTube page so that anybody can go back and listen to it. Like I said, it was in the last year and it was a wonderful conversation with him. I talked to him about all kinds of things, from wearing his socks high and the influence he had on youngsters with the high socks, which he wore at Syracuse. He still remains to this day Syracuse's all-time scorer in basketball. And he was just a really just a nice, genuine guy. And that day he came into the studio. It was just so much fun talking to him, and we talked to him about all kinds of things. I don't remember parts of the conversation, but it was a very engaging conversation, and it was wonderful to have him. He took a nice picture with us. Maybe we'll post that as well again. I know we posted on social the day we did it, but I'm sure we could find that and repost that picture. But yeah, that was devastating news to hear that yesterday, just out of the blue. Somebody texted me before I even caught it in the media, and I was like, what? That can't be. Everything I've heard is, that Lawrence was fine. So again, we'll find out in the coming days what caused him to go at 53. Oh, there's the picture. Thank you for that. And that guy right next to Boy Green there, that's Steve Becker, the promoter. Actually, one of the people I spoke to this morning was Steve, who was definitely in very, very down spirits this morning, because he was close to a lot of Syracuse players, did a lot of events with them, and had worked with Lawrence quite a bit in the last few years. So Steve was waxing poetic to me on the phone about Lawrence and his interactions with Lawrence. So yeah, it's a sad, sad day for Syracuse basketball fans, for Syracuse sports fans, for Central New Yorkers who got to know this guy when he played here at Syracuse, and then he stuck around. Now, he's originally from D.C., and he had actually just very recently gone back to Washington, D.C., I think somewhat permanently, like moved himself back down there, and was working with a young team down there of high school age, trying to get them in order. He was a general manager of a team. So I don't know exactly what those duties were specifically, but I had just recently read that he had made the move and gone back down and had left Central New York, because he had spent a lot of his time up here in Central New York. He's very, very loved here in the greater Syracuse area. So yeah, just terrible, terrible, sad, sad times to see him go. But yeah, Paul is flicking through some pictures here of Lawrence when he was in the studio with us. We just had a great, great time with him in the studio and had a lot of laughs. So that was fun.
Yeah. I'm just going back through these because I found our photo selection. I'll share this with you, Lerch, because I'm sure, we'd like to say some kind words on social media about Lawrence and beyond what we're talking about here. But yeah, this is the photo we took after the interview, and which was a lot of fun. And you could just see, look at Lerch getting Lawrence to laugh, because we talked about like some NIL stuff, of what it is now to what they were for athletes before. That was a fascinating conversation to hear for Lawrence, who obviously it was a predated era to what NIL was. And man, many laughs.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. And Lawrence is a great, great guy. And he's going to be severely, severely missed in the Syracuse community, and particularly in the Syracuse basketball community. So there'll be tributes in upcoming days, and I'm sure a very, very sad ceremony here in Central New York for the passing of one of the all-time Syracuse great basketball players, Lawrence Moten, unfortunately gone at the age of 53.
Yeah, sad. There's no way to properly transition from that, of course, Lerch, but again, I thank you so much, Yeti, for asking and giving love to Lawrence, who, again, phenomenal athlete, phenomenal basketball player, but phenomenal human being, an all-star human being in my mind. In every instance I ever met him or got to see him interact with fans, he really appreciated that. So, yeah, big salute to Lawrence Moten.
All right, here's one for you, Boy Green. You want to get into some Jet stuff?
Okay.
You get into Old Yank asking about using Stone Smart on a flea flicker type play. He used to be a QB. Why not? I mean, it just got to pull everything out of them. I'm going to see that this weekend. I'm going down to see the Jets live. Like, that's it. Take out all the stops. Let's just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. So is this worth throwing at the wall to see if it sticks?
This is so in the weeds, and I love it.
I love it too.
First off, for the Jets-Cowboys game, here's the thing for both. We're pot committed. We're going to the game, and 60-something Jet fans are going. The good news is that this shouldn't be a 3-0 game. We're like, geez, that was sort of boring. Points should be flying left and right. Dak Prescott is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in football right now.
And Dallas can't stop anybody.
Yeah, right. And that's exactly what I was going to say. The Jets defense stinks, so Dak Prescott should go off. And when I last saw a Jets-Cowboys game, it was in AT&T Stadium, and Dak had one of his best games of his career. He was just on point and looked phenomenal. And on the other side, Justin Fields is coming off another crazy game. He has these games where he's putting up monster, especially for fantasy football fans, which put up 30 points a week with his running and passing ability. So he made a spectacular return, albeit a loss for the Jets. So points should be coming. The Cowboys can't stop anybody. Justin Fields is dynamic. Dak Prescott's dynamic. And but to answer this question, Old Yank, how this is so deep. Stone Smart, for those who don't know, because a lot of people wouldn't know, no. He's like a third string tight end for the Jets. He was a quarterback in college. When he didn't get drafted, he became a wide receiver in the NFL. And then they transitioned him from wide receiver to tight end. So it's just been a crazy journey for him. he made the headlines during the preseason because he put Abdul Carter on his tuchus. He gave him this block that sent him to a different universe.
Yep.
And it went viral. And Stone Smart was cracking jokes about it. Abdul Carter got really upset and angry.
He wasn't happy about it.
He was like, whatever, the Jets are going
to. Right? Yeah, he made a very snarky remark about it.
Now, it works out because, right, the Giants have won a game the Jets haven't. And he talked all this crap like, we're going to win more games than you this year and all this other trashy talk. So thankfully, good for Abdul Carter. That all is looking good because the Jets haven't been awesome, or else I'm sure those comments would have brought back to the surface. So sure, to your point, flea flickers, 10 ratio. What do you have to lose? You're 0-4. Dig into the bag, man. Let's get some trickeration. Let's get some deep shots, and that's just sort of a simple thing. Arian Smith, the rookie wide receivers the Jets drafted, one of the fastest wide receivers in this draft. He's been targeted 4 or 5 times this season, but none on a deep shot. He's super fast. Why not? What's the good things that can happen? A deep bomb for a touchdown, that'd be exciting. A passing interference call, okay, that moves the ball. Like, a lot of good things can happen, and just, quite frankly, backing up a defense. They all know you want to run the ball every freaking play. You throw it deep, they're like, whoa, we got to back up a little bit, which should open up more things in the run game. So, I'm not a genius here, but for the love of God, that'd be some creativity offensively would be nice.
Yeah. Interesting games in the NFL this weekend, Boy Green. So we'll be down there for Jets Cowboys at MetLife. We mentioned that Bills Patriots game.
Sunday Night Football, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything really good on the slate? I'm kind of flicking through the games here. Seattle. That's an interesting game.
Sure. Fascinating, of course.
3-1 teams. I mean, you might not have thought a ton of them before the season started, but Seattle has shown up in a big way. Jackson Smith and Jigba has been a real inspiration for that team in getting them going. And Sam Darnold has continued right where he left off in Minnesota, during the regular season, not those bad postseason games. And of course, you got Baker just slinging it for the Bucs, even with all those injuries. Baker Mayfield just keeps showing up, keeps running for first downs on these critical 3rd and 4th down plays. He finds a way to escape. We do have Commanders Chargers this weekend. I think that game's a lot better if Jaden Daniels plays. I'm not sure what his status is. That could be interesting. And we mentioned that Monday night game, the Chiefs get the Jaguars down in Jacksonville. So the Chiefs could get themselves to 3-2 if they get a win there. Jacksonville's been solid, though, at 3-1. A team that I predicted at the beginning of the year I thought would be better. So far, at least record-wise, that's held true. I am a little worried about Trevor Lawrence. I'm just still not seeing much. It's almost like they're trying to, game manage Trevor Lawrence. This guy was supposed to be a transcendent talent. He was the number 1 draft pick. He was the next coming. And now it's like they've turned him into who's the Baltimore quarterback that's always
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer. It's like they're treating him like Dilfer, like protect him, and he's just only pass when we have to pass, and he's barely been running. I think he has
and look at the money they owe him. How are you playing him like this? It just doesn't make any sense.
Mega bucks to be a mega superstar. And now they're like running him out there, like Trent Dilfer. It's like, what's happening?
And Liam Cohen is supposed to be some sort of an offensive wizard that's supposed to finally draw out Goldilocks for what he's supposed to be. So, yeah, very strange. I would just say that other game you mentioned earlier, I don't know if it's just me or other people get into it. It used to be called CenturyLink Field. It's now called Lumen Field, all these damn sponsors. It's so fascinating to watch games in Seattle. If I wasn't a Jets fan, and I could remove everything and I'm just a baby again, and now I just randomly get assigned to some fan base. Man, Seattle would be so cool. It seems like a cool stadium. The fans are insane. The uniforms are really, are a little college-y with the neon colors and stuff. They're just such a fascinating watch. So I love watching it. This game won't be in primetime, but they're just such a cool place to play. I love in Madden getting to be in their stadium and seeing the crowd and atmosphere. Seattle's cool. So for that alone, that's also going to be compelling with these two, NFC Titans battling for playoff positioning so early in the season. Yeah, that's going to be a game I have circled for sure.
I'm going to jump over to some random comments.
Great.
A couple here by Badshaw. He's always active in the comments. Thanks, Badshaw, always for participating in all our programs. The best part of golf is the margaritas. Okay.
I love that. Yeah.
I don't usually have margaritas on the golf course. Sometimes at the turn, I used to be kind of famous for this amongst my friends in golf, that at the turn, I would get a Bloody Mary because we would play in the morning, Bloody Mary's the tomato juice thing, I get a little stalk of celery in there. It kind of feels like something breakfast, and throw some vodka down and, for breakfast, not exactly. But margaritas, I don't think I've ever had a margarita at a golf course. So I don't know what golf courses you're going to,
I want to go.
I like it, especially of the frozen variety, the takeout with you on the back nine. That wouldn't be so bad. So I'd get down with that for sure. He's coming down to the thing. So, yes, we're ready to meet you as well. And this is kind of cool. Here's a little addition to your party, Boy Green. There's just more things happening with this party. We got a DJ, you've got the catered food, and the executive chef who's going to be whipping up all the food. And you got to see this menu, folks. It's unbelievable. If you want to get it and pop it up, Boy Green, by all means, pop it up on the screen for this Sunday.
Let's talk about this.
So Badshaw's work donated name tags for us. So apparently we're going to have some kind of fancy name tags. What's going on down here?
Yeah. Let me tell this story. So
I like this idea.
So last year, again, I didn't host the tailgate, but I was like kind of a co-host, I guess, if you want to call it. Okay. My responsibility was to bring a bunch of my fans from my show to someone else's event that they already started, and we just sort of merged together. But I didn't have to run it. I didn't have, it's better to go to someone else's party. I'm not responsible for anything. I can do whatever I want, which is nice. But so I go to this tailgate party last year for the Jets-Patriots game, Thursday Night Football. It's a lot of fun. Jets won. Oh, exciting. Super awesome. But everyone knows me. I'm Boy Green. That's how people came to the event, because they knew me. So even if I didn't know them. So like people would just go, Boy Green. And I'm like, hey, guy or lady.
Yeah, sure.
Because some of these people, for instance, I'm going to bring up Old Yank here on the show. His avatar is an O. Is he tall, short, fat, skinny? I don't know. So I'm not going to know until I meet some of these people for the first time. Like, so when they say, hey, Boy Green, and I see some individual in front of me, I don't know who they are. So here's a funny story. Last year I'm at the tailgate, right? Plenty of Boy Greens. And if it's a passing setting, I can just go like,
what's up?
Hey to you.
Yeah.
But when it's an intimate setting where they want to have a conversation, I tried to guess who the person was.
Okay. And
there was a young lady. She tapped me on the shoulder, said, hey, Boy Green, Paul, it's so awesome to meet you. And I'm like, yeah, it's amazing to meet you too. And then I went,
who the heck are you?
It's her name. Like, I'm just going to make it up. I went, Stephanie. And she went, no. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, what an idiot. Like, and then eventually she told me it's like Jenny, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, I'm so sorry. And then from that point forward, I'm like, I'm not guessing anymore. It's going to be a disaster. Yeah. So I said, we're just going to have to try to figure it out. But obviously you guys are going to know me, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way. Like, you guys are watching my show. You see my face every day. I don't see your face every day, especially the people that just comment. We haven't even opened up the video calls yet on the show, Lerch. So we'll do that at some point in the future, perhaps. Yes. So I'm just seeing commenters. So what Badshaw suggested on the morning show this morning when we were talking about this Jets-Cowboys game is he said, and I don't care if fancy name tags or not, that will be
fancy. I want fancy. You go back to your boss and you tell him Manchild wants fancy name tags. What
by the way,
fancy name tag?
I was just about to ask, what even is a fancy name tag? That I'm unaware of. But Badshaw, that's a great help. Get names and I'll be able to go, oh,
very smart.
Badshaw, you're this.
I agree.
You've called into the show and I see your picture here. So I know who you are. Although seeing someone for the first time and then seeing them on this, I think it's still that's going to be a jarring, different experience. But I love the name tag idea. It's great. I don't think we were able to address it earlier, but great idea. People bring whatever you want to this tailgate. Bring your own spin, anything that you think will help. So yeah, name tags would be great because like some people I might be able to sort of discern, but there's going to be a lot of people where I'm like, oh boy, I don't know. So name tags. That's a great idea, Badshaw. I love it.
It is. Well, outside of doing a radio show, I'm a college professor, and I teach several classes a semester, and I'm constantly learning names. And I create those little TP name placards. Like I cut up, I cut up folders, little file folders. I cut them up, and then I have them on the first day of class. I give them Sharpies, and I say just your first name, nice and big, and just bring it the first few weeks of classes because I have to learn the names. It just really helps me to have the name right in front of the person, And people just don't realize when you have 120 students every semester, it's hard to bank all these names. I mean, I am not a computer. I cannot just go pop and then photographic memory. I certainly don't have. So it's really, really helpful. So name tags can be helpful in a situation like this. So thank you, Badshaw. Fancy or not, I promise I'll wear the name tag.
Okay? 100%. So yeah, that'll be cool. But again, me and Manchild, they're both super excited for it. It looks like we only have like one ticket left. So if you're out there in the universe, and a few people have been purchasing the last remaining things this morning, so
just a single ticket left. That's it.
Single. That's it. It's with our group, so that part's pretty cool. But there's no. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any tailgate stuff attached to it. That stuff's already all sold out. So it's to sit with us at the game. If you are interested, we have one last ticket left, and all the money from this ticket goes to charity. So whatever we sell it for goes to our Wounded Warrior Project charity, a lovely member of the morning show donated it to raise money for charity. So if you're out there in the universe, I'll work with you on price. You'll get it for a great deal, and all the money goes to charity. So it's a win-win for everybody. So if you're out there in the universe and you want to come to our Jets-Cowboys game Sunday, October 5th, that's this Sunday, let me know.
Can you get that? Do you have the menu handy? Can you?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Let me pull that up. Sorry, I got
menu,
lost.
Folks, you got to see this menu. Like, this was half of the inspiration for me going, I may not be a Jet fan, but I got to go down. This food just sounds too darn good. And then to know that it's actually being prepared by a guy who actually knows how to cook. This isn't Boy Green on the grill. Then I'd be like, okay, whatever you say, Boy Green, it's not going to look like that. Yeah. I know it's pretty small there on the screen, but man, look at these delectable, delicious things.
Let me see if I can even get it in a bigger form and we can sort of zoom in on it. So I'll work on that.
And that's Chef Kevin right there, right? Chef Kevin
on the
Gilbert
bottom
right
left.
There,
that is Chef Kevin Gilbert. That is absolutely Chef Kevin Gilbert.
Decked out there.
He is. Yes. He for a long time. For people who don't know, he was a season ticket holder for the Jets. So which makes a lot of sense for Chef. But yes, he came up with this menu, and I'll give you a zoomed in version here in just a moment. This is a professional chef. He is an executive chef. And which cool. I'm glad that it worked to entice Manchild to say, hey, let me see what all this is about. And it's terrific. I mean, this is a unique menu with that has sliders and hot dogs and some baked ziti, which will be nice, a macaroni salad, garden salad, and again we'll be providing drink and everything else for you guys as well for those that want to have some water or some select alcohol or anything. So yes, if that's out there in the universe and that's something that you guys definitely want, we'll definitely make it happen. So yes, I'll get this up on the screen in a zoomed in fashion here in just a second.
Yeah, that's the point. The burgers are not just burgers, they're like gourmet burgers. They're like really interesting little twists on them. So that's that's the chef thing coming to the forefront, where the chef can kind of take an ordinary burger and then turn it into something that actually sounds like wow.
Here you go. Let me zoom in on this so you guys can really see this puppy. So let's see. Okay, let's grab it here.
All right, we got that spicy slider. Look at that melted pepper jack, whiskey, smoked chipotle mayo on a potato bun. That looks very interesting. The 3-cheese slider. All right. Yeah. Ooh, look at all that. Monterey, American cheddar. All right. Also on a really nice bun there. You've got Woody's got an item named after him there.
Yeah, barbecue beer slider. Very nice. Look at that.
All the stuff on there.
I'll read it all out to you. It's a beef slider basted with Tank 7 barbecue sauce, melted aged cheddar, applewood smoked bacon, topped with smoked pulled pork on a potato bun. And then
Mike eats on a weekend, and he just passed it along to the chef, and the chef said,
what Chef did is, and again, this just shows you how over the top he went. So I just said, hey, would you be interested? And we started talking about different food items, and he explained like the difficulties of like whether it was sushi to Italian to this or this, what's easier to try to get for 50 people and what it all looks like. And he's a fan of my show, so he already knew my order that I have every Sunday at a diner. So he did this himself. And when he gave me the menu, I saw BG Sunday Tradition. I'm like, wait a second, I have an item named after me. And I read the item. I'm like, oh my God, that's what I have every week. But he's fancying it up. It is a beef slider with a sunny side up quail egg, applewood smoked bacon, American cheese on a potato bun. And so once he did that, Woody saw that and said, oh, can I get an item on the menu? I'm like, I don't know, that chef. And then other people started, trying to weigh in and see. My father has stuff. We'll bring it down because you see the hot dog,
spicy dog. It's not just any old dog. Look at that.
Yeah, right. Griddled hot dog, spicy brown mustard, whiskey pepper jam, crispy jalapenos, diced applewood smoked bacon with a toasted pretzel bun.
I like that, which is terrific. That sounds good.
And look at all the sides here. So we have baked ziti, melted mozzarella, shaved Parmesan Romano, fresh basil, house-made potato chips tossed with truffle oil, herbs, and Parmesan cheese, toasted pretzel sticks with beer mustard, and then my pop, like I said, got an item on the menu. Pop's bacon popcorn. It's dried corn kernels roasted with bacon and glazed with citrus agave, diced applewood smoked bacon, topped with the dehydrated chili lime dust. I mean, this is just unbelievable.
I don't even know what that's going to look like when it's done, but it sounds delicious. But what is that going to look like?
That's unbelievable.
It's like one of those things you go into a restaurant and you just love the sound of it, but you're like, but you have no idea when it arrives on your plate what it's going to look like. Right. And then sometimes you get it and you're just like, whoa, that isn't anything like I thought it was going to look like. And then other times you're like, okay, that's kind of what I thought it would be, So will it or won't it be what we think it will be? I have no idea what that would look like. That's
right.
pretty cool.
So again,
That's all going down this weekend.
Yes, our professional chef, again, Chef Kevin Gilbert. We're doing a meet and greet the night before at his restaurant, the Cloverleaf Tavern. So you guys will be able to try it won't be food from that menu. That menu is custom for our tailgate. It'll be all kinds of other items, which are delicious. When I dropped by New Jersey, he invited me to his restaurant. How could I turn that down? I said, okay, we gotta pivot and make sure we stop at Chef Kevin Gilbert's restaurant before we leave. And the food was spectacular. And he brought out other food he wanted me to sample and try. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is just
tell us about the restaurant itself. I saw outside pictures of it. It looked really, really nice.
Oh, yes. The Cloverleaf Tavern. It was my first time there. They've got wonderful parking, which also I was a little worried about with how many people are coming. I'm like, can we get everybody in there? They've got their own separate parking lot behind the restaurant, which is terrific, that anyone can park in for free, which is wonderful. And yes, for our meet and greet, there's a private upstairs room, which Chef Kevin Gilbert gave me a tour of the restaurant in the middle of our eating. He said, hey, can I bring you around? I'm like, please. Yes, of course. And he brought me up, and he calls into the show on my morning show from that room that we're going to be in. He's got his own little office area in it, and we will be in this private upstairs room all to ourselves. Again, you'll be able to order off the menu yourself, whatever you want. And if we get a few more people, we're at 37 people, Lerch, for this event. If we get a few more people to get to 40, Chef Kevin Gilbert said he's going to prepare a special meal exclusively for everyone there if we get to 40 people. So he said it has to, for whatever reason, whatever special item he said he would make requires 40 people for what he wants to do. And I'm like, good Lord. So he says, hey, if we get there before Saturday, I'll prepare it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So we're a few people away from this special item that he's bringing out for this meet and greet. So this is great. So we're at 38 people, 37 people. So if we get over the 40 person mark, he will present an additional dish of some kind special for the people that'll be at this event on Saturday night. So shout out. That's going to be wonderful the night before. That's at 7:30. Cloverleaf Tavern, Caldwell, New Jersey. It's going to be spectacular. I can't wait.
All right, man. That's you're guilting me, man, because I'm not coming to the VIP.
Oh yeah, but you got your son. So if you guys got other things going on, then
Yeah, I'd like to try and spend a little time with my son and the driving. Going back and forth to Jersey so many times. Yeah, right. I'm going to be staying all the way in Queens. Yeah. And then I got to come back to Syracuse, as you know, after the game on Sunday for my 8 a.m. Monday class. So yeah, it's going to be a one of those burning both ends of the candle kind of weekends.
100%.
But it is well worth it. Yeah.
But it is going to be spectacular. So that, we'll see if we get a few more stragglers. Again, even if you're not going to the game with us, you can come to this meet and greet. All you have to do is reach out to me so I can put you on the sign-up sheet, because there is a limit. So if all of a sudden a slew of people start coming, we can't have any more than 60 people. So you have to be on the list to be able to be in this exclusive private party upstairs. So it's going to be terrific.
And as I told you, number one, they got to find a way to beat the Cowboys. Just got to beat this Cowboy team. All right. Right. And now I just told you the other day, my Cowboy nemesis. Okay. Yeah. My buddy Victor from New York City. Sure. Right. Is now just out of the blue, just suddenly decided he wanted to come to this game at the Meadowlands. He didn't know I was going. He didn't know I was even going to be in the tailgate or anything. And he just randomly texted me the other day and he says, "Yeah, I'm going to go to the Cowboys game, against the Jets at MetLife." I was like, "What?" So there's nothing I want for his team to be stomped while he's there. He's like my nemesis. Okay. The backstory on that, folks, is he once took me to he invited me out when I was younger, right? When I was in my 20s, sure, maybe around 30. And he invited me out to watch the Giants play the Cowboys. Okay. And we were on Long Island. I was living on Long Island at the time. He was living on Long Island. And I said, okay, I'll come to the, that sounds good. I know you're a Cowboy fan, but Giants are going to kick their butt. This is when the Giants were pretty decent. And I was like, all right. So, he tells me where to meet him, and I go to this place and we get there and I walk in the place, and every single person, now I'm wearing my Eli Manning, Giants jersey that's hanging up behind me here. Every person in this bar is wearing a Cowboys jersey. And I walk in, and it's like one of those things where, when EF talks, I'm like, I look at him, I'm like, what the heck did you bring me to? He didn't tell me. He brought me to a Cowboys bar on Long Island. And I'm in full Giant regalia. Okay. Yeah. First, I just wouldn't have gone if I knew it was a Cowboys bar to begin with. Why am I going to go watch a Giant game at a Cowboys bar? Right. So he takes me into this. We go there. And then at some point, I just need to use the men's room. I go into the men's room, and some guy comes into the men's room and starts talking to me in a not so positive way.
Oh, so he's giving you some crap.
Yeah, I'm like at the urinal doing my business, and this guy's just talking crap. He's like, how dare you come in here wearing that thing,
Yeah.
And I'm just like trying to do my business, and at the same time kind of looking over my shoulder like, what,
Yeah.
Oh, the next thing you know, I finish my business, and he continues. So the next thing you know, I'm on the floor in the bathroom brawling with a guy.
Wow.
All right. For calling me out on my Giants fandom. So, and by the way, that fight did go my way. So,
nice.
At all, I think I landed the better blows in that thing. But I mean,
nice.
That doesn't happen to me. Like, I'm not a violent person at all. But this guy just wasn't going to let
pushing
up.
your buttons.
Listen, man, I'm from New York, man. New Yorkers don't mess with us, man. We'll throw down if we have to.
Yeah,
it was my younger days. So,
wow.
But anyway, yeah. So that was so. I'll never forget. My buddy putting me in that position.
Oh, so you want to get him back?
I just want to, like in his.
Okay, so you want us all to mug him, to find him and beat him up?
Do that, but like I said, I'm not a violent person.
Oh, well, I know, but you could get us to do your dirty work. We'll beat him up.
Guy,
yeah, nice.
Still,
okay. Yeah.
Situation. So
you got to give it back to him.
So yeah, I have owed him for 30 years for this.
Well, let me ask you this: does he know that this is hanging over? Or has he totally forgotten about it?
Totally forgotten about it.
Which is perfect. You'd rather it be that way.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. To him, it was over the minute we left the bar. Like it was, it happens. What do you mean it happens? What the heck you bringing me to this place to watch a Giants game?
And you've been stewing on this forever. That's
forever. Forever. Yeah. And he doesn't know it. I've barely ever said a word to him about it.
Oh, that's terrific.
So yeah, if I could get him back somehow, the Jets could just kick the tar out of the Cowboys this week.
Possible.
That'd be the ultimate, and just give it to him on the way out of the stadium. Now that I know he's going to be in there, we'll do like a JETS Jets dance,
nice.
on the hood of his car or something, and get 10 of us up there, jumping on the hood of his car.
That sounds terrific.
Let's go, that Cowboy fan. It's got to
great.
win in order to do that. So
we'll see if we can. The Jets have actually had a pretty good history against the Cowboys, believe it or not, since 2011. Outside of the game that just happened at AT&T Stadium, the Jets have won 7 in a row or something against the Cowboys. So they've got a good history.
Well, what I want to see from the Jets this weekend is better defense. Can your team just play some defense? I mean,
they've got the talent.
Such high hopes for this defense, and there really are some talented individual players on this. Now, they have not played well as a unit, but there are talented individual players. I still believe that very strongly about this Jets defense, and I say that very objectively.
Yeah.
So come on, Jets. Let's get one for us here, man. Let's have us walking out of that stadium, not only smiling from all the beer and the great food that Chef Kevin has thrown out there, but also, man, it'd be nice to walk out of there with a win. I'm telling you, the Giants stink, but they won last week, and I told you all week I've just been feeling better, just feeling better. So we need to get these Jet fans at least feeling good for a week. Can we get 6 days of okay, it's possible we can win a football game. So hopefully you guys can do it.
Yeah, I did it on the morning show. I reacted. Rich Eisen talks about all kinds of national things, but he talked about the Jets yesterday.
He's a Jet fan too, right?
He is. Yeah, a long-time
Mike
Jets
Greenberg
fan.
is a Jet fan.
He is. Yeah, Mike Greenberg. We got a bunch of Jets people out there in the universe that represent in the media world. And Rich basically at the end of his rant said, I've got a message to the players. Do you want to play for this coach? Do you want to fight for this coach? Because he's 0-4. No Jet first-time coach has ever started their career 0-5. Not one in their entire history, which could happen, of course, if AG loses to the Cowboys. And the players are going to hear this all week when they're asked questions about it. Sack up for your guy. You believe in this guy? Prove it. Go, do something. Step up to the plate. Fight for your guy, because these self-inflicted wounds, there are coaching issues, and we could talk about that on a separate Jet show, but there are just issues the players are causing themselves. He didn't teach them to fumble the ball. He didn't teach them to make some of these mistakes they're making. So step up for your guy. And that's what Sunday is. It's a big opportunity. MetLife Stadium at home, get your first win and hand that game ball to AG, and let's all go crazy together. So.
Okay, well, that's going to be a blast, and we're all looking forward to it. And even for those of you that aren't going to the game, get on, watch it on TV and root for the Jets. Jets got to get a win.
See us on the cameras. See if you can get us on the TV. That'd be great.
Yeah. And for anybody that's going to be down there, by the way, we're also going to try and shoot some videos for our show open. So you can get in our show open, which we're going to be creating in the next couple of weeks here. We're all lined up with our graphic designer, and we've got a little theme song that was created by my former bandmate, Nicky Lamangino. That's sitting in the hopper right now, waiting to be produced along with a video open. But we will have a fancy schmancy, as they say, not like those name tags, but very fancy show open for our show beginning within a couple of weeks. So we're going to shoot the last few pieces of video.
This weekend.
Why not? Let's do it this weekend down at the stadium with all these fans. We can do some fun stuff. I may have to bring my Giants jersey along and throw it on for a little bit, because even though I'm going there in Jets attire, for the show.
You don't want the intro to be forever two Jet fans.
All Jets, so I'll have to bring my Giants gear and
I see.
Throw it on for a little bit for some.
Understandable.
But we can have some fun with that. All right. So look, good show today, Boy Green. Thanks again to Dalton Wasserman. Thanks to our friends at Crest Cadillac for sponsoring today's show. We've got Jake Asman coming at you later this afternoon. So some inside the Jets stuff coming your way with Jake. We dropped Ed Valentine yesterday, our Giants insider. He was all the way up at his camp in the Adirondacks and still found some time to jump in with us. We talked a lot of Jackson Dart with him and some of the cool Giants stuff that's going on. So if you haven't caught up on that, you see that at our YouTube channel, at MC Show Digital on YouTube. And don't forget, like and subscribe to us while you're there. And we've got our usual live fantasy football bit on Friday with Joe Bartle. That happens at 10:30 right on this channel every single Friday, where we break down fantasy football for about a half hour. We urge you to jump into the room, throw your start sits, your trades, anything that you've got into the comments. We'll ask Joe live while he's on the show, or you can watch it back later. So we do that every single Friday. And don't forget, if you haven't heard about this one yet, this is the brand newest addition here to our whole repertoire. For many, many years, Paul and I have covered the TV show Survivor, and we even did it back in our radio days, having experts on the show every single Thursday to recap the Wednesday night episodes. Now we do a live Survivor post-game show right after the episode. So within about 10-15 minutes of when the show ends around 9:30, boom, we're live just like this, doing a Survivor recap, breaking it down with former Survivor players. Our insider is Brett LaBelle, and in future weeks, he's going to even be bringing some of his pals into the room with us, so we might have multiple former Survivor contestants in the room with Paul and I breaking down Survivor. We really get into this. We just released our Survivor draft a couple of days ago.
Go watch it. Yeah.
So you want to check that out and watch that as well. And I'll share in our live broadcast this week the backstory on the Survivor draft
tonight. Yeah.
And what went on there. So yeah. Oh yeah. Tonight. Is it Wednesday?
Today's Wednesday. Yes,
it's
of course
tonight.
it is, Lerch.
God, I don't even know my week anymore. I'm sorry. Lost track of all time. That's right. All right. We're back.
So 9:45 tonight, folks.
Right.
Make sure you tune into our live Survivor coverage. So
and this is our wonderful graphic template here for
Very
Survivor.
nice.
All
Very
the
homey.
logos of all the years, and you see the tiki.
You can see the beach down below.
Yeah, kind of a cool looking beach. And it looks
the
like
water.
Fiji. It looks like Fiji to me.
Very Fiji.
You can hear the sound of those waves. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Which
all
is
right.
very nice.
So, look, thanks to everybody for chiming in on the comments, for just hanging with us and watching. Again, back tonight for Survivor. Jake Asman dropping a little later this afternoon, and lots more content coming as the week goes on. And look forward to a lot of you who are in this room right now, meeting you down in good old East Rutherford, New Jersey, at the old Meadowlands Complex, MetLife Stadium, for Jets Cowboys. We're going to get them. We're going to get them. We're going to get them, Jet fans. Come on, man. Come on. Just show up for one game for me, pal. All right. We'll see what happens. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you. Take care.